So the scale, measuring your progress and setting expectations in and around your body composition results, starting with the scale. This is absolutely optional. For some women, it helps, but for others, it can actually be quite unhelpful or triggering. So I want you to only use it if it supports your mindset and progress in a positive way. So one of the ways that I encourage you to think about whether or not it is good for you and your mindset is when you do jump on the scale and you see that number, does it affect your mood either too positively or too negatively? If you find yourself operating at the extremes of that spectrum, potentially it's not for you. But if you're not sure, please reach out and we can have a chat about it. But overall, I just want to remind you the big picture stuff. Your progress and results will not always align or equal the scale. The scale is very much data and it is not self-worth. It is one tool and it certainly does not tell the whole story. So use it if it helps, but please remember that your body is not a maths equation and it is normal and expected for your scale weight to fluctuate daily. Your scale weight is so much more than just fat, for example. It takes into consideration our muscle mass, our bones, fluid on the body, and more. And can be really easily affected by certain variables such as hormones, stress, sleep, digestion, whether you've been traveling, if you had a hard training session, where you are in your cycle, how much salt you've taken in. There's a whole raft of things, right? So it's certainly not a reliable means of data, particularly if the measure is taken randomly. That is why if you do choose to weigh, preferably we would be doing daily weighing, because this gives us better averages and allows us to identify trends over time and actually make better decisions and adjustments to your plan if needed. So you've probably heard the term data over emotions. We really are just looking at your scale weight as a form of data and then just using that to make adjustments if and when needed. If you are weighing daily, to get the most consistent data, or even if you're weighing fortnightly or monthly, it's important that you follow some basic guidelines, which is to use the same scale, because you'll often see variability between different scales. Do it at the same time of day, so ideally first thing in the morning. After the toilet, so I'd wake up in the morning, go to the toilet, and then jump on the scale before you drink any water or have any food. And this will give you the most consistent form of data, especially if you're weighing day to day. Now, daily, like I said, isn't for everyone. Weighing fortnightly or even monthly is fine. You just need to let me know what you choose, as we'll adjust it based on you, because it is also important that if you are weighing fortnightly or monthly, that there's some consistency with it so that we can use that data appropriately. For example, if you are cycling naturally, it's probably more important to weigh at the same time before your period comes each month, as opposed to the same date each month. Doing it in line with your cycle is going to give us more accurate readings, because the scale fluctuates for some women hugely when it comes to that time of the month. But a final reminder, the scale does not always define success. We're really here to feel fitter, stronger, leaner, more confident in our clothes and more control. And the scale actually has very little to do with that. Also, there are many other ways to measure your progress other than scale. That's really just a small part of the picture. So other things that we'll be using to measure your success include progress photos, measurements, strength and fitness, energy and habits, and stress and sleep. So arguably, if you're progressing with all these things, and how your clothes fit as well is another marker, you are making progress. It won't always align with the scale. And you'll often notice that a lot of these things might start to improve before the scale actually changes. So when it comes to progress photos, again, like the scale, there's kind of some guidelines that I want you to follow to make sure that they are consistent and we can actually use them to our advantage when tracking your progress over time. So please take them from the front, side, and back. Ideally, it would be someone else to take them or on a timer. No selfies, please. And make sure that you are wearing the same clothing or light and have the same lighting, that you're in a relaxed posture, not tensing, that kind of thing, and ideally the same location each time against a white wall is perfect. There are some guidelines in the app as to how to do it, so that will remind you as well. Also, measurements, as in using a soft measuring tape and measuring your body, are also a really good indicator of progress. And I often say scale loss equals weight loss, but measurements lost equal fat loss. So if fat loss is really one of your goals and changing your body shape and your body composition, it's really important that you do some measurements, because sometimes the scale won't actually change, but you can see some real changes in your body in terms of shape and how your clothes fit. And it's measurements that will often give us the bigger part of the story there. So again, the app will give you guidelines as to how to measure, but waist at your narrowest part, hips at the widest part, chest at your fullest part, and make sure that you keep the tape snug but not too tight. So again, when it comes to measuring your progress and your body composition changes, consistency matters more than perfection. And remember, we're looking for trends, not single moments in time. And all of this is data. It's not judgment at all. So remember, data over emotions.